Nick and Rick's Pizza, Rules for Delivering to Sam Ninso, written by TheGeckoWrangler, found on the Ruleshorror subreddit. Hello, Daryl. From what we've heard, things very nearly got out of hand on your latest delivery to Cribble Rock Run. We probably should have specified how likely the Garbler was to grab for your glasses. That said, we're beyond relieved to hear the situation didn't escalate further, and we'll be sending you on yet another delivery to Cribble Rock Run shortly. Much like the Garbler, this next customer tends to be a high risk for deliveries, but with the information we've provided below, we're certain you'll be just fine. Customer name, Sam Ninso. Address, 2038 Maple Boulevard. Regular order, extra large mushroom pizza, topped with wood trimmings and plaster. Crust made from wood polish and lacquer. Residence description. The residence changes its appearance frequently. One day the house will be a quaint little one-floor cottage. Then the next it'll be a fancy split-level home. It's even been a modestly sized mansion on occasion, complete with lawn decor and fancy sculptures. However, certain details of the structure never change. The porch light is always flickering. The left window next to the door is always broken, and the porch is always a raised deck, covered on the sides with thatched wooden paneling. Customer description. Ninso's appearance changes with the residence, and it's just as variable in every way. Rules for delivery. 1. When delivering to Sam Ninso, there is one rule that is by far the most important. Do not approach the house. Stay on the sidewalk, and don't even approach the yard. It is critical that you don't get closer to the house than necessary. 2. Be sure to keep an eye where you're standing during this delivery. There's a good chance the ground under your feet, and even the sidewalk itself, will slowly slide you toward the house. Be certain you don't get pulled past the sidewalk this way. 3. Once you are in front of the house, call out to Sam that his pizza has arrived. Almost immediately afterwards, the front door will open and a head will peer out at you. 4. Sam will try to insist you bring the pizza directly to the door. He'll give a laundry list of reasons why he can't come get it himself. He's on house arrest, there's a cake in the oven, or the cold air is just too much for his feeble elderly figure to bear. He might even claim he's incapable of leaving the house, which isn't entirely untrue. Again, do not approach the house, even slightly. Be firm and insist that he comes to you. 5. Multiple figures might appear next to the first, trying to back up Sam's point. It's worth noting, however, that the persons peeking from behind the door most likely aren't correctly moving their lips to match the words you're hearing. Additionally, listen long enough and you'll realize all those voices are in fact one voice trying to sound like multiple people. Again, do not get closer to the door. 6. During this time, you'll probably hear one of several different things just out of view behind the house. It may be a couple arguing angrily, someone screaming in pain for help, or a friendly sounding dog or cat. It may even just be someone calling you over by name. Whatever it is you're hearing, you'll find yourself wanting to check it out further, but it's critical that you don't. What you're hearing is nothing more than bait to get you closer to the house. 7. Eventually, Sam will give up, and the figure peeking out from behind the door will then withdraw back into the house. Immediately afterwards, several white tendrils resembling giant cobwebs will extend towards you from the doorway. Avoid touching them and don't let any of them get behind you. Sam wants the pizza, but he's an opportunistic eater by nature. Anything he can catch is fair game. 8. One of these tendrils will drop an assortment of jewelry onto the sidewalk, while another will motion for you to hand it the pizza. Step back slightly, then give it the pie. 9. Do not attempt to collect the jewelry until the tendrils have fully retracted into the house. Sam is incredibly opportunistic. and attacking while you're picking up his payment is an excellent opportunity. 10. Keep an eye on the broken window by the door. There's a chance an enormous eyeball will fill the other side of the window entirely. Should you see it, Sam Ninso has decided he's keenly interested in you. Be prepared for the Tendrils to come hurtling out of the house without warning. They're guaranteed to make an attack if Sam looked at you directly. 11. Should one of the Tendrils grab you, your best option is to hold on to anything you pass near as you're dragged towards the house. Sam's grip is relatively weak, so even the slightest resistance will be enough for you to get free. As long as you break loose before you reach the porch, you should escape relatively easily. 12. Should you hear loud crackling and groaning from underneath the porch, get back to the car quickly. Several long, thorny spider-like eggs are about to shoot out from underneath the house. It is important that you don't let them reach you. There's no escaping those things once they're latched onto you. 13. If you're too slow to get into the car, Sam might start reshaping himself in an attempt to catch you along with your car. You'll know this is happening if the porch light stops flickering. This will quickly be followed by the house crackling and creaking like it's ripping itself apart, numerous spidery legs sprouting from underneath the house, and every single window being filled with giant, silvery eyes. This almost certainly doesn't need to be said, but don't let Sam catch the car. He'll never let you go again. 14. Thanks to his size, Sam dislikes moving long distances, except for very special circumstances, so chances are he won't chase you past the closest neighboring houses. However, this doesn't mean he's given up entirely. Check your rearview mirror consistently when leaving. Hopefully, you'll see nothing unusual as you leave the neighborhood, and all is well. Rules for being chased. 1. As you're leaving Cribble Rock Run, there's a chance you'll notice one or more slender, horribly misshapen quadrupedal figures chasing after you. These are the corpses of Sam's past victims, and also the figures you saw at the door. He's integrated large parts of himself onto their remains, altering and reshaping them for use in running down escaped prey. These proxies of his are extremely fast, and Sam is incredibly skilled at using them as a pack. However, using them is exhausting for Sam, and he often wears out after several minutes. Keep away from them long enough, and he'll eventually give up. 2. Keep a count of how many proxies are behind you at any time. Sam typically hunts with 2 to 3 of them, but he has 8 individual proxies that we know of, and he usually tries to split them up to improve his strategic options. If more than one of them is chasing you directly, Sam is trying to keep your attention focused on them to distract you from your surroundings, creating an attack opening for his other proxies. 3. As we said before, the proxies are extremely fast. Their maximum speed is around 50 miles per hour when running straight. As such, they'll probably catch up to your vehicle eventually. When this happens, let them get within about 10 feet of your car, then slam on the brakes. The damage they'll take from running into your car should keep them from being able to chase you further. 4. Get back to speed immediately after the proxies crashed into your bumper. Not only is this a chance for the other proxies to strike, but the ones you hit won't hesitate to damage your tires if you give them a chance. 5. While you should always watch the road carefully while driving, be especially watchful for any nails or large wooden splinters on the road. Sam will often send a proxy ahead of you to sabotage the roads he thinks you'll turn onto. You'll be in trouble if you get a flat tire while he's after you. 6. If one of the proxies charges you from the front, do not hit the brakes. Slowing the car down is the single worst thing you can do in this situation. Instead, swerve to avoid it the best you can. The proxy will almost certainly hit you regardless, but it's in your best interest that they don't go straight through the windshield. Sam will all but have caught you if that happens. 7. If the proxies breach the inside of your car at all, watch out for wood splinters flying through the air. Even the smallest piece of that wood is connected to Sam. Should the splinters touch you physically, they'll probably dig deep into your skin, causing excruciating pain. This is just another way Sam tries to distract you from his proxies. 8. If they're particularly persistent, turn onto Lesher Road. Its residents are less than fond of Sam Nino, and they won't take kindly to his proxies getting near their homes. Half the time, the proxies won't even keep chasing you once you've turned down that road. The one downfall to this strategy is that the angry residents might turn on you afterwards. For that reason, only do this as a last resort. 9. Before Sam gives up entirely, he'll make one last attempt to stop you. As you'll probably have already noticed by now, each of the proxy's limbs end in a long piece of large, jagged wood. With the right amount of force, the proxy can dislodge them from its body and send them careening wildly and hazardously through the air. Be prepared to swerve before this happens. Sam's broken several windshields and wrecked more than a few cars this way. 10. After you've escaped, send your vehicle to the repair shop next door to our restaurant. Even if there's no physical damage, those proxies are more wood than they are flesh, and given also how Sam often lays wood splinters on the road, there's a good chance there's wood fragments deep within your car. Tell the mechanics you had an argument with Sam, and they'll know what to do. They'll probably need to keep your car for a few days, especially if there's actual damage. So we'll provide you with a temporary vehicle for deliveries in the meantime. It is beyond important you don't simply drive the car home. That should be everything you need to know about Sam Ninso. He's easily one of the more unusual residents of Cribble Rock Run, and by far its largest inhabitant. And while he's highly manipulative, and we also have no clue where he gets all that jewelry from, most of it is antique, easily a few hundred years old, he pays consistently and is truthfully one of our more polite customers, aside from his predatory tendencies, of course. Of course, like many of Cribble Rock Run's residents, we've had a few unfortunate incidents with him. The worst, by far, was the first time we ever delivered to Sam. Brandon, the poor driver we sent that night, didn't know what we know now, and thus made several mistakes. First, he tried to go straight to the door. Remarkably, he managed to escape Sam's tendrils and claws, but immediately after he drove off, the proxies gave chase. His second mistake happened there. After swerving in several circles and crashing into the monstrosities a few times, Brandon became partially covered in wood shrapnel. But eventually he got them out and actually escaped the neighborhood. He returned to our restaurant, half scared out of his mind. He almost quit, but we were able to change his mind with a generous bonus. However, this was not the end of that poor boy's misfortune. When he drove home that night, his car was visibly covered in wood splinters. This was Brandon's third and final mistake. Any wood from that house is a living, conscious part of Sam, and no matter how small the piece is, it's a piece that Sam can feel, and as a result, track and locate. That next day, Brandon didn't show up for work. We tried calling him, but were met only with his voicemail. After the second day he missed work, we resolved to check on Brandon personally. But when we came to his address, we were greeted by a strange sight. Brandon's house had changed appearance significantly. It now sported a large raised porch, along with a constantly flickering porch lamp. Not only that, but someone had apparently broken his left front window. It was only after we approached the home ourselves that we understood what had truly happened. Brandon's house disappeared entirely the next day, and even now Brandon himself is only considered missing. Sam left no trace or possible evidence Brandon had ever existed whatsoever. but we unfortunately know right where he is. Our deliverers still see him every now and then, peeking from behind Sam's door, trying to coax them inside with a voice that isn't his own. So do be particularly cautious when dealing with Sam Ninso. He's living proof that all is not always what it seems. And as the saying goes, a house isn't always a home. Sincerely, Rick and Nick Castillo.